I first became interested in Carl Jung when I watched a television interview with Jung. Jung talked about the dream or the idea of a Swiss patient in the hospital, which was very, very similar, he later discovered, to the myth of Mithras for the ancient Romans. And out of that, Carl Jung in this interview talked about the idea of the collective unconscious. And I had a year off, a year sabbatical that I spent with David Bohm, and during that period I started to read a lot of Jung and got interested, and particularly in that idea of synchronicity, which Jung called a meaningful connection. The idea is two things happening together. Maybe one could be a dream, maybe one's an event in the world, and they seem to be connected in some way, which is really full of meaning for the person that experiences it. It's not totally a subjective meaning, there's an objective meaning to it as well. And that, for me, got tied to ideas of James Joyce when he spoke about epiphanies, and the poet Gerard Manley Hopkins when he spoke of inscape. And so I ended up writing a book called Synchronicity, the Bridge Between Matter and Mind. And in this course, I'd like to touch on some of the things in that book. And by the way, that book really needs rewriting. We know so much more now, particularly about the relation between the physicist Wolfgang Pauli and Carl Jung. So in the course, I talk about synchronicities, give some examples, ask what does it mean to connect matter and psyche? What is psyche? What is the nature of mind? What is the nature of consciousness? And the idea of the archetypes, which Jung saw as structuring principles of the psyche, but Pauli saw them also as structuring principles of matter. So there's some idea that there's a type of universal structuring principle that underlies matter and underlies psyche. So during this course, I try to touch on these things. I talk a little bit about Pauli's dreams, Pauli's visions for what he called the resurrection of spirit in matter, for a new type of science which would possess a soul, and to ask what the synchronicities mean to us, where could they take us, big synchronicities, little synchronicities, and in general, an exploration of Carl Jung and going a little bit beyond. So that is what I try to do in the course. It's always an exciting experience because people come to the course with their own experiences, their own interactions, and generally it ends up being, I end up always feeling I've learned more at the end of the course than probably the students have. So that's synchronicity, and that's a course I love to teach.